He never spoke. Not in class, not at lunch, not even when someone knocked his books off the desk. Just picked them up. Slow. Like he had all the time in the world. But that Tuesday, something cracked. His name was Daniel. 17. Pale skin. Dark circles under his eyes like he hadn't slept in weeks. Maybe he hadn't. He sat in the back corner of Mr. Harrison's chemistry class. Third period. Right by the window that didn't open anymore. The one with the crack running through it. He'd stare at that crack sometimes. For minutes. While everyone else argued about lab partners or weekend plans or who said what on somebody's Instagram story. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You're gonna want to see where this goes. Daniel wore the same hoodie every day. Gray, faded. The kind that's been washed so many times it's soft in a way new clothes never are. His backpack had one strap broken, so he carried it on his right shoulder, leaning slightly to compensate. Nobody noticed. Or maybe they did and just didn't care. High school's like that. You see someone every day for 3 years and never really see them at all. There were rumors, of course. There are always rumors about the quiet ones. Some kid said his mom left when he was 12. Others said his dad drank. Jessica Moreno, who lived 2 streets over, swore she saw him working nights at the gas station on Route 9, the one that stays open till 2 in the morning. But rumors are just noise. Background static. And Daniel was the opposite of noise. Brad Chen sat 2 rows ahead of him. Baseball team, honor roll. The kind of guy who could make a joke and the whole room would laugh. Not because it was funny, but because he was the one saying it. He had this thing he did. Every few days he'd turn around, look at Daniel and say something. Nothing terrible. Nothing that would get him sent to the principal's office. Just things. Hey Daniel, you figure out how to talk yet? Yo, you sleep in that hoodie or what? Anybody home in there, man? Daniel never responded. Just looked down at his notebook. Drew these intricate patterns in the margins. Geometric shapes overlapping, spiraling inward. Mr. Harrison thought he wasn't paying attention, but Daniel got a 96 on the last test. Didn't study, at least not where anyone could see. That Tuesday started normal. Gray sky, threat of rain that never came. First period, second period, same as always. Daniel walked the hallways with his head down, weaving through crowds like he'd memorized everyone's patterns. Left at the water fountain, right before the gym entrance, straight through the science wing. Muscle memory, survival instinct, chemistry class. Mr. Harrison was late. He was always late on Tuesdays. Something about a meeting with the department head. The room filled with that pre-class energy. Everyone talking at once, phones out even though they weren't supposed to be. Somebody throwing a crumpled paper ball at the recycling bin and missing. Brad turned around. Daniel was already in his seat, staring at that cracked window. Yo, Daniel. Nothing. Daniel, man, I'm talking to you. The room started to quiet. Not all at once. Just people noticing. Conversations trailing off. Everyone loved a show, even if they pretended they didn't. If you're feeling this, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. Trust me on this one. You know what I think? Brad leaned back in his chair. That smile on his face. The one that said he knew he had an audience. I think you don't talk because you got nothing to say. I think you should stop. The room went silent. Complete silence. The kind you can feel in your chest. Daniel's voice was quiet. Steady. Not angry. Not shaking. Just there. Like it had been waiting this whole time to be used. Brad blinked. What did you... I said stop. Daniel looked up. His eyes weren't what anyone expected. They weren't scared. They weren't even particularly emotional. They were just tired. I've been listening to you for 2 years. Every Tuesday, every Thursday. Sometimes Fridays when you're bored. And I never said anything because I thought, I don't know. I thought it didn't matter. That you'd get tired of it. That it would just... Stop. He stood up. Slow. Like he was moving through water. But it doesn't stop, does it? Because guys like you need this. You need someone to be beneath you, so you can feel like you're above something. And I get it. I do. Your dad's never home. Your mom pretends everything's perfect when it's not, and that scholarship you're counting on? You're terrified you won't get it, so you come here and you do this. Brad's face had gone pale. How do you... I pay attention. Daniel's voice was still quiet. That's what people don't get about being quiet. You see everything, you hear everything. Last week you were talking to Coach Henderson outside the locker room. You were crying about the pressure, about how you can't sleep because you're worried you're not good enough. The room was frozen. 27 students, not one of them moving. Sarah Jenkins, second row. You tell everyone you're fine, but you've been picking at your nails till they bleed for 3 months. Ryan Torres. You laugh the loudest, but you flinch every time someone raises their voice because your stepdad does more than yell. Jessica Moreno. You started wearing long sleeves in September even though it's been warm, because those aren't just stress marks on your wrists. Someone gasped. Daniel didn't stop. I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm saying it because we're all just trying to survive this place. All of us. And maybe if we spent less time pretending and more time actually seeing each other, it wouldn't be so hard. He picked up his backpack. The broken strap made it awkward, but he managed. I'm not angry at you, Brad. I'm just tired. And I'm done being the person you need me to be so you can avoid being yourself. Mr. Harrison walked in right then, coffee in hand, completely oblivious to what had just happened. All right, everyone, pop quiz today. He stopped, looked around at the frozen classroom. Did I miss something? Nobody answered. Daniel sat back down, took out his notebook, started drawing those patterns again, like nothing had happened. But something had happened. You could feel it. The air in the room was different, heavier, like right before a storm breaks. Brad didn't turn around again that day, or the next day, or the day after that. People started noticing Daniel. Not in a bad way. Not in a good way either exactly. Just noticing. Like they'd been looking through him for so long they forgot he was solid. Had substance. Had a voice. Sarah Jenkins stopped by his locker 3 days later. Didn't say anything. Just nodded. Daniel nodded back. That was enough. By the end of the week, someone had fixed the strap on his backpack. He never found out who. Left it hanging on his locker one morning with a note that just said, "Here." The thing about standing up is nobody tells you what comes after. The movies end with the big moment, credits roll, everyone cheers. But real life keeps going. Daniel still sat in the back. Still wore that gray hoodie. Still drew patterns in his notebook margins. But when he walked through the hallways now, people moved. Not out of fear. Out of something else. Respect, maybe. Or just recognition that he was there. That he'd always been there. Mr. Harrison never gave that pop quiz. Said he forgot about it. But sometimes when he thought nobody was looking, he'd glance at Daniel with this expression like he was trying to solve an equation that didn't have numbers. Brad transferred schools 2 months later. Said it was for a better baseball program. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Daniel didn't ask. The quiet kid finally stood up and everyone froze. But the thing nobody talks about is what happens when everyone unfreezes. When life keeps moving and you're still standing there, having used your voice, wondering if it changed anything at all. It did, though. Maybe not in the ways people expected, but those small nods in the hallway, the way people stopped talking over each other quite as much. The fact that Sarah Jenkins started seeing the school counselor and Ryan Torres joined that support group and Jessica Moreno stopped wearing long sleeves when June came around. Sometimes one voice is enough to remind everyone else they have one too. So here's my question for you, and I really want you to think about this. If you could say one thing to someone who's been invisible for too long, what would it be? Drop your answer in the comments, and if this story hit you somewhere real, subscribe because we're just getting started. There's more stories like this, more moments that matter, and maybe your story's next. See you in the next one.